this video is about Jezebel, but it coincides with the other video, so I'll put them in the description of each other, but they're not necessarily like to be watched together because it's just conversation, really. But the ideology of Jezebel doesn't make sense. So, like, for example, my parents prostituted me, but then my dad told me that if I got pregnant, that he would kick me out. But it's like, you could just not prostitute me, so then I wouldn't get pregnant. Or I remember one time he was saying that he was saying he wanted money, or he wanted to make money, and I remember I was like, oh, well, why don't you just play the lottery and you can win the lottery, or play some scratch offs? No, I said the lottery. And he was like, well, God told me that he's gonna make me rich without the lottery, so I don't want to do that. And then I was like thinking years later, I think it was last year or this year, but I was like, so you're telling me that you and God had a conversation about not playing the lottery, but you're telling me that God didn't tell you that you should not assault children or not be a pedophile? How does that make sense? And then let's see what else. For example, if I went on my dad's Facebook page, he calls himself a Christian and people know him as a Christian, but he's promoting Buddhism on his Facebook, or also the fact that my dad could have just got a job. He never like maintained a job, so he also could have just got a job and worked that, because every time I saw him get jobs, he always self-sabotaged them, or he just didn't do it the way he was supposed to. He always like half did stuff. And then, or for example, my parents are both supposed to be fronting as Christians, but they watch the most raunchiest movies I've ever watched or heard of in my life, stuff that I am not even capable of watching. And they also do repeated sins. Jezebel does repeated sins. They'll do witchcraft forever. They'll do manipulation techniques forever. They don't feel bad about it. That's loud, I think. I don't know if you heard me.